Why is it so hard to keep a good habit but so easy to start a bad one? Most people think they lack discipline, but the truth is, they just have bad habit architecture. Your brain is designed to take the path of least resistance. If your habits feel like a fight, you've already lost. Today, we are learning how to build systems your brain actually wants to follow. I'll show you how to hack your dopamine environment so that success becomes your default setting. The willpower myth: why trying harder is the reason you fail. Many people assume willpower alone decides what they do. The willpower myth says you just need to try harder and push through. The truth is that systems beat willpower every time. Your brain actually prefers the habit blueprint, a plan that runs with your energy rather than against it. When a habit becomes a system, it sticks without endless grinding. Small, steady shifts beat heroic attempts that burn out fast. Enter the friction wall. It is the barrier you set to slow down the impulse to drift toward old patterns and to give your future self a fighting chance. You create friction by making the wrong path a little harder and the right path a little smoother. For example, keep tempting snacks out of sight, or place a glass of water by your desk to cue hydration. By nudging your environment, you reduce the mental load and let the good choice slide into place almost on its own. Then comes the reward loop. The cue sparks a craving, you respond, and a reward seals the pattern in. Immediate rewards beat delayed ones. This is how the brain learns what to repeat. Tie the reward to the habit so the loop fires fast and often. A small win, checking off a task, a moment of relief, a pat of progress, gives your brain the boost it craves and makes the next step easier. Put the system to work with a practical framework. Start by mapping your habit into cue, craving, response, and reward. Then design your environment to reduce friction for the good choice and increase friction for the bad one. Use simple anchors, like laying out clothes for a workout or placing your phone out of arm's reach, to trigger the right action. Build micro-habits that require tiny effort and deliver quick rewards. Test and adjust. If you miss a day, tweak the step, remove a barrier, or swap the reward for something more appealing. The core idea is to design for consistency with minimal mental load, so the brain cooperates with you instead of fighting you. The architecture of action: how your environment dictates your behavior. Your behavior tends to follow the path carved by your surroundings. The architecture of action isn't about willpower alone. It's about shaping cues that nudge you toward useful actions. Systems beat willpower every time because you rarely decide in a vacuum. Your brain loves loops that run on autopilot. When the environment changes, you change with it, almost without noticing. Small shifts can stack into a habit that sticks. Think of the habit blueprint as a map from cue to action to reward. You design it with clear triggers, simple routines, and instant payoffs. For example, place a bottle of water on your desk and drink during a pause. Put your running shoes beside your bed so they shout "go" when you wake. Keep a notebook ready by the coffee maker so you write one line before you brew. The reward should arrive quickly, like a sense of progress or a tiny win you can feel right away. Track the result with a simple checkmark or app badge to feed the reward loop. When the loop fires immediately, the brain learns faster than a plan you forget. Enter the friction wall. It slows bad actions by adding small, deliberate steps. If your goal is to eat better, hide junk food or place it in a high drawer. If you want to limit screen time, log out after use or enable a blocker for a set period. The aim is not punishment, but making the door to poor choices harder to open. In a workspace, make healthy options easier to grab than snacks in a vending machine. In a kitchen, arrange things so that making a healthy choice feels natural. This is how the environment dictates behavior, speaking to your actions before you fully think them through. To use this in real life, start with 3 quick moves. First, map the cue, action, and reward for the habit you want to cement. Second, rearrange your space to make the cue irresistible and the reward immediate. Third, design a friction wall that slows temptations down. For a morning running habit, leave your shoes by the bed, set a calendar reminder, and reward yourself with a short stretch and a warm drink after the run. For reducing late-night snacking, hide sweets, pre-commit to cleaning a plate after dinner, and install a simple blocker on your phone after a certain hour. The aim is steady system design that does the hard work for you, so your brain follows the plan instead of fighting it. The friction rule: how to make bad habits hard and good habits invisible. Friction is a design choice in your daily life. The friction rule says you can steer your habits by changing how easy or hard they are to do. The habit blueprint shows 4 small moves: the cue, the craving, the action, and the reward. The friction wall sits between cue and action for bad habits, slowing you down and inviting a pause. Systems beat willpower every time because your surroundings do most of the work for you. The reward loop keeps coming back because a quick win makes the next choice easier. To make bad habits hard, build friction around the trigger. Put temptations out of reach, in locked cabinets or in a different room. Add steps to the process, like taking a detour before you reach for the treat. Pause matters. If you scroll social media first thing, require a password or a deliberate pause to unlock the app. A simple doorway barrier works. Keep the snack in a separate room and close the lid every time. The friction wall grows with each extra step, every additional hurdle, every check you must complete before the action. Make good habits invisible by letting them slip into your life without heavy decision-making. Let the path be automatic. Create a smooth default that your brain follows without thinking. Stack a good habit onto a strong existing cue so starting feels natural. Automate the start by placing the things you need near the door. A packed gym bag by the door, a book by the bed, a water bottle ready on the desk. The idea is to set up the environment so the habit appears without a big mental push. The reward loop then gives a mini payoff and reinforces the pattern. A practical plan is to pick an obvious bad habit and a clear good habit you want. Build the friction wall around the bad cue. Add a barrier that makes starting the bad habit require effort. Then design the environment so the good habit is almost invisible. Reduce steps, automate, and let it happen as a byproduct of daily life. Track small wins and notice how often the good habit happens without force. Remember, systems beat willpower every time, because they guide your choices even when motivation fades. Dopamine stacking, linking what you need to do with what you want to do. Dopamine helps your brain predict rewards and feel a pull toward actions that promise payoff. Dopamine stacking links what you need to do with what you want to do, so the brain finds a built-in reason to start and keep going. Think of it as the reward loop in your daily life, with a friendly helper called the habit blueprint. The friction wall sits nearby, quietly smoothing the path for good habits and slowing down the bad ones. To build a stack, first write down 2 lists, the must-do tasks and the small pleasures you actually enjoy. Then pair one must-do with a clear, enticing want. If you need to exercise, let a favorite podcast or a brisk walk with a friend ride along as the reward you truly want, not a distant fantasy. Put the reward on the action itself. That is the core idea of dopamine stacking. Do it in tiny steps at first, so your brain can feel a quick win and want more. Another example hits home for work. You need to write a report, so you listen to a compelling playlist only while you draft. A second stack could be studying. Study 15 minutes, then take a 3-minute break where you sip your favorite tea. Set a small timer and begin. The timer becomes a cue. The reward is immediate and personal. The habit blueprint grows from those simple stitches into a reliable fabric. Environment matters. Prepare the scene, a comfortable chair, the exact notebook or laptop you use, and a domino of small, predictable steps that trigger the stack. The friction wall stays high for temptations, low for your stacks. If you stumble, adjust rather than blame, and keep the system alive. Systems beat willpower every time when you design them to align needs with wants and to reward progress promptly. The 2-minute gateway, starting so small your brain can't say no. Starting a habit is easiest when the first action is tiny. The 2-minute gateway makes that start almost irresistible. Your brain loves quick wins and a sense of momentum, so a tiny start invites compliance without drama. The habit blueprint treats that start as the doorway into a bigger routine. The friction wall is the barrier that keeps you from beginning, and a 2-minute task dissolves most of it. Systems beat willpower every time. Here is how to use it. Pick one habit you genuinely want to grow. Break it down into a version that takes 2 minutes or less. Decide the cue that will trigger it, like finishing a shower or opening your laptop. Make the starting action crystal clear. Read 1 page, stand up and stretch for 2 minutes, jot a single thought in a notebook. Do that tiny action immediately, no extra steps. After you finish, give yourself a tiny reward, fresh air, a smile, a quick compliment to yourself. That immediate payoff fuels the reward loop, and you want to repeat it. The goal is consistency, not perfection, at least at the start. Put the gateway where you can't miss it. Prepare the environment so the first move is as easy as possible. For a reading habit, keep a book on the pillow. For a workout habit, lay out shoes the night before. For a writing habit, carry a small notebook and pen. Attach the tiny action to an existing routine, so it rides the momentum of what you already do. If you want to drink more water, place a bottle on your desk and take a 2-minute sip whenever you sit down to work. The tiny start compounds, turning a small moment into a steady routine. Over days and weeks, the bigger habit emerges from the initial gateway. Track the tiny starts, not the full results. A simple streak log or calendar checkmark is enough. If you miss a day, reset without judgment and repeat tomorrow. The point is to keep the door open, not to punish yourself for slipping. When the gateway sticks, you can build outward in small steps, at a minute here, another a few days later, until the full habit has its own rhythm. Systems beat willpower every time, because you've designed the path your brain actually chooses. Visual cues. Designing your space to trigger the right actions automatically. Visual cues are visible signals in your environment that nudge you toward action. Your surroundings speak to your brain without you thinking about it. When the space around you supports the habit you want, the next action feels almost automatic. Think of a clear path laid out by the habit blueprint, where each cue points you toward the next small step. In this setup, systems beat willpower every time, because the environment does the lifting for you. The goal is not to force yourself to fight gravity, but to align space with intention so the right move happens on its own. Start by anchoring one simple action to a clear, unavoidable cue. Identify the habit you want to install, and map the cue that should trigger it. Then shape the space so that cue is always visible and easy to act on. This is where the friction wall comes in. If a bad habit pops up, add a moment of friction, extra steps that make the unwanted choice less convenient. If a good habit should happen, remove friction or place the trigger where it can be seen and reached without effort. The idea is to make the door swing toward the right room, not against it. Pair the cue with a tiny reward right after the action to complete the reward loop and reinforce the behavior. Design in practical, everyday terms. Put a water bottle where you work so seeing it invites a sip. Lay out gym clothes beside the bed so your feet touch fabric and you move toward the mat. Place your reading light and a book on the nightstand to cue a short reading session before sleep. Use a visible progress board on the desk that marks small wins as you complete tasks. The trick is to keep surfaces clutter-free and to let purpose be obvious. When the cue is obvious, the action follows, and the habit becomes part of the routine rather than a decision you must make. Build a small system you can repeat. Start with a single habit, then create a pile of cues and routines that support it. Use habit stacking. Attach a new action to an established cue you already respond to. For example, after pouring a coffee, you take a minute to jot a quick to-do item, or after you sit at your desk you stretch for a moment. Observe what works, then adjust the setup. If a cue loses its power, swap it for a stronger signal. If a habit stalls, rework the space so the trigger is unmissable. Over time, your environment becomes a partner in your practices, not an obstacle, and the daily rhythm holds steady even on busy days. The feedback loop. How to celebrate small wins to rewire your brain. Small wins light up the reward loop in your brain. The brain loves quick, predictable rewards more than big, rare victories. When you celebrate those tiny wins, you give your brain a nudge that says, keep going. This is the heartbeat of the reward loop and a key part of the habit blueprint. Systems beat willpower every time, because the path becomes inviting, not punishing. Here's a practical framework you can actually use. Start by choosing a tiny win that takes 2 minutes or less. Then decide how you'll celebrate immediately after finishing it. That celebration can be as simple as a smile, a high five to the air, or a short note in a habit journal. Next, track the win in a clear way, like putting a check mark on a calendar or a one-line entry in a notes app. Finally, repeat the pattern daily. The more consistently you repeat, the stronger the connection becomes and the easier the next win feels. Take concrete examples. If the goal is to drink more water, place a bottle on your desk and take a sip after each committed cue. Celebrate with a tiny cheer or a quick mental compliment. Nice, that's 2 today. If you're trying to read more, commit to reading 1 page after lunch and stamp a single check on a calendar once you finish. To lower the barrier, call this the friction wall. Identify the few small frictions that block the start and remove or reduce them, so the first step is almost automatic. You can lay out workout clothes the night before or set a timer for 2 minutes of stretching the moment you wake up. The habit cycle thrives on honest, proportional celebration. Don't overdo the praise, and don't pretend a tiny win is a grand conquest. A genuine, lightweight celebration sustains motivation without creating a mismatch between effort and reward. If you want more social reinforcement, share a quick win with a trusted friend who can acknowledge it. but keep the focus on the next tiny win rather than the total score. The key is consistency. Small, frequent rewards build a pathway your brain genuinely wants to follow, turning effort into routine and routine into behavior. The habit blueprint works best when you design the loop to want to run, not when you rely on willpower alone. The reward loop then carries you forward, one tiny win at a time. Identity shift. Moving from doing a habit to becoming the person. Shifting from doing a habit to becoming the type of person who performs it changes how your brain treats it. When the identity is clear, actions feel like natural steps rather than forced tasks. The habit blueprint helps you design this shift, not just chase a goal. Think of the friction wall as the barrier you remove to make the new behavior easy. The reward loop is what tells your brain, yes, this is who you are. Start with identity, not just task lists. Pick a concrete identity to aim for example, I am a reader instead of I want to read more. Choose a tiny habit that acts as proof of that identity, such as opening a book and reading a single page after breakfast. Make that cue simple and unavoidable. A book on the table, a lamp left on, a bookmark in place. Over time, this small act builds confidence in the new role and makes the habit feel like a natural expression of self. Use the friction wall to keep slip-up small. If your goal is to be a runner, set up the environment so you can step into it without heavy decision-making. Lay out the shoes and coat the night before, place a water bottle within arm's reach, remove competing options like extra layers that invite delay. Put identity words in your space in a gentle way so they reinforce the direction you want, not as reminders of failure. The goal is to reduce the nudges away from the new you and raise the pull toward it. Strengthen with the reward loop. Immediately sense the benefit of acting as that person. After a run, notice the breath steadying, the legs loosening, the sense of momentum. A quiet internal acknowledgement, I am a runner, helps cement the move from action to identity. Track progress in a way that ties to who you are, not just what you did today. When a day slips, treat it as data, not a verdict, and reset without drama. Small celebrations, like a quick moment of pride or sharing a tiny win, reinforce the sense of self you're building. Systems beat willpower every time. Put identity into a practical system with cues, routines, and feedback. To become a writer, keep a notebook by the bed and draft a short page before sleep. Share a line of progress with a friend who supports your identity. If a day goes astray, adjust the setup rather than abandon the shift. The core idea is simple. Design actions that feel like the person you want to be, and your brain will follow. The plan is practical, repeatable, and forgiving, yet steady enough to move you from I will to I am. Build the system, and the results will take care of themselves. The brain loves systems more than grit alone. When you build the system, the results tend to take care of themselves, almost by inertia. You can feel the shift in your daily life as tasks move from willpower to habit. The habit blueprint is a simple map you draw for your day so your brain can follow it without constant recalculation. The idea is to design the day so the right actions come first, and the wrong ones become less appealing over time. With a good system, you're not forcing yourself to be perfect. You're setting up a runway for consistent progress. The friction wall is the practical part of that design. It buffers you from slipping back into old patterns by making the easy path less inviting and the right path more obvious. It sounds small, but it works because tiny barriers add up. For instance, if you want to drink more water, keep a bottle within arm's reach and place a note by your keyboard that nudges you to sip every hour. If you want to cut down on mindless snacking, store treats in a high cabinet and out of sight. The wall is not about punishment. It's about making the desired move the path of least resistance. Then comes the reward loop, the fuel that keeps the cycle moving. Cue, routine, reward. The cue is the trigger that signals your brain to act. The routine is the action you want to repeat. The reward is something small and immediate that your brain recognizes as a win. A 2-minute task often earns a quick sense of progress, and that small win strengthens the pattern. The key is to attach a real, tangible reward to the completion, something you genuinely enjoy but don't overdo. When the loop lands cleanly, the brain starts to look for the cue and slide into the routine without a debate. Here is a practical framework you can follow today. Pick one behavior you want to systemize. Keep it tiny to start. Link the cue to something you already do, like brushing teeth or pouring a morning coffee. Break the action into 2-minute or even shorter steps so it's almost automatic. Build the friction wall around any tempting detours or distractions, and simultaneously lower friction for the desired action. Prep the materials the night before, set out your shoes, lay the book on the pillow. Add a simple, immediate reward after completion, such as a 5-minute break to enjoy a favorite podcast or a small note of encouragement to yourself. Track the days you succeed on a simple calendar or app so you can see the streak. If you miss a day, reset gently and adjust the setup, not your aim. The system will carry you forward, and the results will begin to look after themselves. 2 concrete sketches help make this concrete. First, a morning movement system. Cue is the moment you finish brushing your teeth. Routine is a 10-minute bodyweight circuit. Reward is a quick stretch and a check mark on your habit calendar. Prepare the space the night before. Shoes by the door, towel ready, water bottle filled. So the first minutes require almost no decision. Second, a reading before bed system. Cue is closing the laptop. Routine is reading for 10 minutes. Reward is a short moment of calm before sleep and a tiny note of progress on a wall chart. In both cases, the environment does the heavy lifting, and your brain learns the pattern without waging a constant war with itself. The overarching message is simple: build the system, and the results follow. Here's the bottom line: systems beat willpower every time. The habit blueprint is a tiny, repeatable sequence your brain can run without a constant struggle. Set it up right, and the habit starts because of the design, not because you grit your teeth. Key moves: start tiny. Pick one action you can do every day. Make the first step easy by choosing a clear trigger, like after you brush your teeth. Build the habit blueprint around a simple loop. Trigger, tiny action, quick reward. Create the friction wall for the old habit. Remove steps that make it too easy to fall back, and add small blocks that slow you down. Tap into the reward loop with a small, immediate win so your brain notices progress. Track what you do and tweak until it sticks. I hear you if life feels busy. You're not broken. Your brain just likes systems. When you design your day around these 3 ideas, you turn effort into momentum and make better choices feel natural. Smooth call to action. Pick one habit you want this week. Write its trigger, the tiny action, and the first reward. Remove one friction point that makes it hard. Try it for 7 days and tell me what happened in the comments. If you know someone who wants an easier routine, share this video with them. Genuine future content mention. In the next videos, we'll tailor the habit blueprint for work, home, and study, and we'll walk through a simple 30-day plan you can actually follow. See you in the next video. You're building a system your brain actually wants to follow. The habit blueprint, the friction wall, and the reward loop are tools you can start using today. Your future self will thank you. See you soon.